Everyone, Richard Robbins here. What I'd like to talk to you about today is how do you win in a multiple offer situation? Let's face it, if you're dealing with a buyer and you're going to be faced with multiple offers, which could be 2 offers, 4 offers, 8 offers, 16 offers, whatever the number is, it becomes very challenging. Think about this. If there's, say, 8 offers and you stand, right, 1 in 8 chance of winning, well, what can you do to give yourself sort of a competitive advantage on how to win? So I'm going to take you through 5 ideas that I have. The video is going to be a little bit longer here, but this is a real training video. And I do want to say before I get into number 1, I'm assuming you have already had these buyers pre-qualified, okay, by a bank or by a mortgage institution or a mortgage broker. You know, that should be said whether there's multiple offers or not. We need to do that first. So here's point number 1 is this. The first thing you need to do is you must manage the buyer's expectations up front, not at the end, not in the middle, up front. One way to do this is create what we call a buyer CMA. So let's say you have a buyer, obviously they want to spend X number of dollars, they want to live in a certain geographical area, or maybe they want to live in 1 or 2, 3 condo buildings that are available. So what I would do is I would sit down with them, just like you do a CMA for a seller, and I would find the most recent sales that have taken place and show them how much above asking price are they selling for, because generally if there's multiple offers, they're probably selling for more than asking price. And figure out what is the percentage, okay? Maybe one sold for 103% of asking price, maybe another 105, maybe another one 101, and then figure out on average how much are they selling for above asking price? Because now what you've done is you've managed the expectations. They can probably get over the initial shock of that over time, and it'll make it much easier when you get to the point of an offer. And the second thing is this, deposit. You know, I had a friend recently who was telling me his son was interested in buying a house, and he was working with a real estate agent. I don't know who it was. But he said what was shocking was the day they decided to put an offer in on a house, the agent then told them they needed $20,000 deposit. Well, the buyer said, my son's friends or kids said, well, $20,000, like we don't have that right now. It's going to take us 24 hours to get that all set up. So again, they hadn't managed the expectation up front. So I think what it's important to do, if you're going to have multiple offers, number 1, you need a big deposit. Why do you want a big deposit? Because you take away the worry, okay, of the seller thinking, what if this doesn't close, especially if they bought a house. So what you want to do is make sure that you do this upfront with a buyer so they're fully prepared when it's time to put in an offer. They've got the money available for a deposit, and obviously they understand they're probably going to have to make an offer substantially more than list price, okay? Number 2 is this. Obviously, we want it to be unconditional. Now, I've heard all kinds of people putting in conditional offers when there's multiple offers. And we know the chance, I'm not saying they wouldn't take a conditional offer, I'm saying the chance of a seller taking a conditional offer opposed to an unconditional offer is probably going to be slim, maybe to none. So how do you do this? Well, you might want a building inspection. So what do? Well, if listing came on the market and they're going to look at offers, say in 5 days, well, if you find the house, you probably need to invest, or your buyers need to invest in having a building inspection done beforehand if they want to have that done, right? And yes, they're going to have to invest in that. Maybe they won't even get the house, but if they want the inspection done, it probably needs to be done before the offer. Second thing, let's say you find a house, and let's say you're considering making an offer at 104, 105% of list price. You probably need to run that by the bank and say, listen, if they make an offer this much, okay, do they qualify? And of course, would you be okay with that? So just reach out, get as much information as you can, so hopefully you can go in unconditionally. Let's face it, I know that's not always possible, but it's going to make your offer much more attractive. Number 3 is this, what I suggest. You can either do a letter, but I like the idea of doing a video. You imagine this. Obviously, somebody's selling their house. They're selling a house. In some cases, their family grew up in that home. They're emotionally attached to this house. When you're emotionally attached to something, you want somebody buying that house that loves the house, right? They're not buying a house. They're sort of buying what? A home. So why don't you have your buyers maybe do a video, which you could then turn over to the sellers, okay, as to why they're so interested in buying that particular house. Now what you're doing is you're touching their emotions. Now you can do this by letter, you could have something written out, but I still like the idea of a video because a video conveys emotion much better than just writing something on a piece of paper. Next thing, now you're making an offer. Once you actually have an offer, do everything in your power to present your offer in person. You know, I know we're in the day and age, we just, email the offer over, whatever the case is. The listing agent presents all the offers and decides what to do. But if at all possible, present in person and have the buyers outside. Within a couple minutes of where that house is. Can you imagine this? You're sitting in there presenting, there's a number of other offers. Maybe the other buyers are not close by. And what you say to the seller is this. You say, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's no downside to what I'm about to suggest. If our offer is not acceptable, why don't you do this? Why don't you tell me what is acceptable? You sign the offer back. I'll walk outside. Within 5 minutes, I'll give you an answer, right? If my people say no, you can do whatever you want with the rest of the offers. They say, yes, your house is sold for the number you want. There is no downside to you doing that. Pretty hard to do that, when the buyers are not there. Maybe they're in another country. Maybe they're, at the condo they live in, which is 20, 30, 40 minutes away or whatever the case is. So if you can, present in person because you might be able to influence that situation. And your job is to get that home or condo for the buyers and have the buyers there. Okay, number 5, the last one is this. Make sure when you're putting in an offer and you're sitting talking to the buyers, ask them a question. Say, are we making an offer or are we trying to win? Big difference between making an offer and something, because a lot of people, I'm going to make an offer, let's see what they do. No, multiple offers, that's not the case. We are here to win. And ask them this question. What number are you willing to pay that you will not have any regrets? Now let me explain what I mean. Let's just say this. Let's say somebody makes an offer on a house, okay, and there's multiple offers, and they find out the house sold for say $5,000 or $7,000 more than they offered. And then they say something like this, oh, geez, we would have paid that. That's where you have regrets, isn't it? So what you want to do is have that conversation with the buyer and say, the offer you need to be making now is an offer, okay, that you'll have no regrets. So that if somebody comes back and says, oh, somebody else paid $4,000 more, then you as a buyer can say, that's fine because we wouldn't have paid that. Understand what I'm saying? I hope this was helpful. And remember, everybody, it's a beautiful life. Make it count.